And there it is. We're broadcasting
I
now.
can't know until the screen capture takes place.
Yeah.
It'll get me when I'm looking off screen.
That's all right. We'll all be blinking when.
There you go. Yeah.
Oops. Topic is Trek. Oh, the cat is bringing me an oven mitt.
You know what reminds me of, like, photography a long time ago. Everybody stand still.
That's right. Now hold that pose for 2 hours.
Yeah. While we expose the film.
Oh, my phone told me that Topic is Trek is now broadcasting. I got to go watch that.
Cool.
We should all watch it together. Let's have a watch party.
Yeah. We'll feel like we're part of the show.
What is it?
The Topic is Trek is now live. We should watch. Let's have a watch party for that.
Let's go over and watch.
Well, notifications work.
And I see listener Diane.
Diane.
Look at there.
Hey, howdy, hey. There's a guy from, I think he's Tennessee, who does some videos on YouTube for the mixer that I've got. And he always starts, hey, what's happening?
Well, all right.
Albert.
Kyle, it's good to see you.
Yeah. We can take
a long time getting from there to here, huh? What? No, stop that.
Look at the new P32 interface to the X32 mixer. He's got good stuff. He actually got an A10 Mini Pro recently. I've got one of those. He said, I'm running it in the audio out of like aux 5 and 6 on the mixer into. I said, I didn't even know there were inputs on the A10 for the audio. It actually solves a sync issue because if I go like this, you'll notice I'm a little bit off on the audio. It's like a quarter second or 4 frames out of sync. And I went, I can now fix that. I haven't done any. I did some preliminary light testing, but I haven't wired it permanently that way. This old dog can learn new tricks. I need to bring up the show notes. Clinton needs to finish up the show notes.
I do, and they'll be finished sometime tomorrow. It'll be fine.
We're putting the wheels on the bus as it's rolling down the street, people.
The nice part is you can always tell if I'm doing it because my keyboard makes a lot of clickety-clackety noise.
All right. Let me know when you're ready to roll with the theme music.
Okay, let me just scroll back to the top here.
We could start the show the same way we ended the show. Let's hit the theme, boys.
Wonderful.
Do I have my predictions?
Hopefully so. I predict you will hopefully have your predict. I know how that's working.
I have all kinds of notes from
fair warning. I have 4. One's a goofy one.
Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah. Well, fair warning. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, okay.
Just because I was on a roll and I kept going. So
right. Okay.
I got to remember what day I did them. It was in December.
Do you remember?
I'll find them. No, that was September, and the drummer just passed away.
Yes.
15. What did?
The drummer
for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, by the way, yeah, that's right. You want to mention Walter Koenig's wife passing away?
Oh, I had not. I was in the loop, yet I was out of the loop at the same time. I did not.
Jeremy Renner getting hit by a snowplow.
Say what now?
Jeremy Renner had a rough weekend.
Well, you name yourself Clint, you're just asking for trouble. But anyway.
Where am I? Come on.
Our thumbnail turned out pretty good.
Can't find my predictions.
Well, I don't know that much about it. So if you want to mention it, Chuck or Craig, when we're doing the intro part of the show, kind of the chatting for a few minutes, you can mention about Walter's wife in there.
This would not be appropriate?
No. Eric said you really got to get some control of yourself here.
Poor guy. Remember his son was
killed
several years ago now.
Oh, yeah.
I won't do it again. Please, I'll be good. I won't ever do it again.
Eric said he's sorry.
I think we should keep you away from the sound effects for a little bit.
Well, we won't be hearing from Charlie this time around because we're not doing news this time. We got too much to do. No, get out, Charlie. Get out.
I wanna.
We can actually say, hey, we can agree with him when he says we don't need all that subspace chatter. All right, you win this time.
Sounds good. Let's do that then. Let's do it.
And only Diane will know.
You know what? We're kind of doing the show by just broadcasting the things that we're going to do.
That's right.
Proto show.
And then we'll say,
and then we'll wrap it up at the end.
Actually, since we're not doing that, let me move that up to here.
Sure, whatever you say.
It's the worst.
Charlie with ever. Voice change right there.
Worst impression ever.
All right, so I am ready to give it a go. Why not?
Okay. Then here we go in 3, 2, 1.
This is The Topic is Trek, episode 129 for Friday, January 6th, 2023. Coming up in this episode, no news is good news. We wrap up season 1 of Prodigy, and we predict the future. All that and more right now on The Topic is Trek. Pride and Prodigy. Welcome to The Topic is Trek, the podcast that runs on impulse power. Join us for a journey where no show has gone before. If it has to do with Star Trek, there's a good chance we'll talk about it sooner or later, because on this show, the topic is Trek. Engage already. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrill-packed episode of The Topic is Trek. I'm Clinton, one of your co-hosts, and to be a co-host, naturally, I have to have other hosts with me. So, beaming in to join me from parts unknown with the first hip new catchphrase, unless he's recycling something, for 2023, here is Mr. Craig Stepp.
Bite my shiny metal ass. That's the best I could do.
Well, okay, it's sci-fi, but I don't know if we really want to hang our hat on that as our
on your ass.
Very welcoming either.
Don't know about that.
No, you don't want to hang your hat there.
No, absolutely not. The reason it's called the top hat. And also is Mr. Chuck Tomasi.
So the title of the show is Pride and Prodigy. Is this our Jane Austen or Austin Janeway or Janeway?
Yes, our Austin Janeway. Yes, there we go.
Yeah, all of the above.
It's our episode written by Austin Janeway.
Right.
And happy 30th anniversary to Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Now, how old do you feel?
I know. I was like, you got to be kidding me. 30 years?
We just went on the cruise and they were celebrating 25. What was that, 6 months ago?
Yeah, more like 60 months ago. Actually, I watched Trials and Tribulations the other night, which was fun to watch again, because of Deep Space Nine, of course. And they really did knock it out of the park with that episode.
Absolutely. Everyone was doing their tribute episodes, and I think theirs was definitely the best of the bunch. We have a bit of sad news. Craig, do you want to tell us about this?
Apparently this happened earlier in December. I was just reading this article about it, but it just came out 4 days. Article I saw was just 4 days ago. But Judy Leavitt, who's the wife of Walter Koenig, had passed away. She was also in Star Trek. She was in. She played several little characters over the years. But yeah, she had passed away. I didn't see what had happened, but I know he's had a rough go of it the last few years. I know his son was murdered. It was something terrible that happened to his son a while back, and they've had to deal with that, and now his wife. So wish him all the best. I hate that.
Indeed. But on a hopefully more a lighter note, we want to announce that we just did an interview with Dr. Mohammed Noor, who is a occasional consultant to the Star Trek universe, and we're going to put that interview out next week, next Friday.
And a regular biologist. Occasional.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
That's his day job. That's not the exciting part of it. No,
full-time nerd.
definitely. Yes, absolutely. If you,
we had a good time talking with him, and I think it was a lot of fun, and some things were surprising. So look forward to that next week.
Absolutely, a lot of fun. All right, but enough of that. It's time to. It's time to check. Well, we'll be hearing much more from Dr. Noor in just 7 days when we put out that interview. But right now, it's time, as it always is, to ask Charlie if it's okay to start subspace chatter. Charlie?
You don't need all that subspace chatter.
All right, fine. We're not going to do news this week. We're not going to do any subspace chatter. How about that?
Whatever you say.
So apparently we're all in agreement. There's no subspace chatter this week.
Yes, we have so much else to cover that we're skipping subspace chatter. However, do have the full complement of stories. So there are at least 79 stories in the show notes over for episode 129. Exactly, Eric's. At the topic is Trek.
Oh, that.
Got him off guard.
I was busy putting Eric's back in his box.
Here's Chuck getting all the sound effects.
And I say at least 79 stories because by the time the night's over, I may be slipping in a few more stories there. So at least 79 episodes that will keep you busy between now and our next regular episode, or between now and our interview with Dr. Noor.
We're going to have more stories in the Burj Khalifa.
Hey, well, there should be a good bit coming because Picard starts up, next month?
Right. Well, it's interesting because, again, I always look at the number of stories I can find about the different series to kind of tell what's hot at the moment.
Yeah.
And, okay, Picard is coming up, so you would expect we're going to have a lot of stuff about that in their notes, and we do. We have a lot of stories there. But Prodigy is finally starting to have coverage. Now that the season is over, there are a lot of stories in there about Prodigy. And I think it's the case of until the season was over, and we're going to talk about the last 3 episodes of Prodigy in just a minute or two, but until the season was over, no one really was aware that this is kind of a backdoor sequel to Voyager, and it's really made for adults, but kids can watch it, type series.
I think it was, or the other way around. It was made for kids, but adults can watch it.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure.
Out to be the case. Well, it turned out to be the case either way. Yeah. Actually, it's a good show for anybody, really.
Yeah. We also have a lot of things about the comic books and the graphic novels that are out right now, because there's a bunch of things going on there. And a lot of things that have to do with what I call miscellaneous or franchise-wide stories. So be sure to check out the notes because there is a lot in there. And we might talk about a few of these on the next episode as well, because there's a few things I do want to cover, but we will save them for next time. But you can get an advanced look at that by checking out all the stories in the show notes.
All right.
All right. I would still, however, because it is my favorite part of the show, I would still like to say goodbye, Charlie.
I want to stay.
There's no reason for you to stay.
Always feels so good, so good.
He must be working through some New Year's resolutions because he's more agreeable.
Yeah, he's cheerful.
Yeah, his demeanor is much improved.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. As we mentioned up front, we're about to head out on our main mission appropriate sound effect. Sure. And talk about the last 3 episodes of season 1 of Star Trek Prodigy. And I have to remember to say Prodigy because I start to say Star Trek and Picard is coming out because that's what everybody's talking about at the moment. But Prodigy, last 3 episodes of Star Trek Prodigy. So there obviously will be spoilers if you have not seen those episodes. Let's begin where we should begin with this first one here. I'm going to have Chuck, why don't you read our little bit about the first episode?
All right, 1 per person because there's 3 episodes.
Well, I lumped last 2 together. So.
Oh boy, that's cheating. But okay, we'll take that. So, season 1, episode 18 is called Mind Walk, written by Julie Benson and Shauna Benson. The sisters Shauna and Julie serve as co-producer and staff writers on Prodigy. They have solo writing credits on 6 episodes of season 1, as well as previous credits for work on various TV series, including The 100. I'm going to leave the reverb off for that one. Woo Assassins and Emma Approved. This was directed by Sung Shin, who we discussed Sung Shin's directing credits in episode 127 over at thetopicstrack.com. Hey, I can do my own this time.
Yeah, you did see that one coming.
Timing is much better when I do it myself. So here's the mission briefing. With the Dauntless upon them, the living construct aboard the Protostar takes the ship to warp. The Dauntless follows an Ensign Essentia, who we have learned is really a Volnicott. Oh, here, hang on.
Spoiler alert.
There you go, in case you haven't. She's a Volnicott known as the Vindicator. She suggests merging the 2 ships' warp bubbles to prevent the Protostar's escape. Is that a thing? I don't know. As the Dauntless begins firing on the Protostar, Zero and Dahl attempt to reach the Admiral telepathically. But the link suddenly snaps, placing Admiral Janeway and Dahl's consciousness in each other's Freaky Friday bodies.
Yeah.
The Admiral is quick to adapt to the situation. Dahl, not so much. And his unfamiliarity with this type of strange occurrence threatens the lives of everyone on both ships. So, things we can talk about?
Well,
by the way, I liked Janeway trying to walk around, or Janeway's body walking around with the heels, kind of thing, stumbling around because Dahl was in there.
Yeah, that was... I have a note that it's interesting that they decided to do a so much comedy this close to the season finale, given what happens after this.
Right.
But I think it was kind of like, let's have a breather before we start to run and you can't catch your breath anymore. It was a lot of fun seeing that when Dahl sits in the captain's chair and slides off.
Right. Oh, that was kind of funny.
Or says, we can see what they're doing, and then if not, pew pew pew.
Yeah. Which is what he's been saying on his own ship.
Which ultimately lands him in the brig because he's like mentally incompetent to serve as an admiral at this point.
Right.
Well, the same thing happened to Kirk, so there you go. But I was right because we found out, I think we found this out in the ready room, because I was wondering how they so perfectly encapsulated each other's voices. Like when you were hearing Kate Mulgrew do Brett Gray's lines, you're going, that is exactly what he would be saying. Well, for a template to go by, not to say
with the mannerisms, the vocal mannerisms,
right. So they recorded each other's lines to say, this is how I would interpret that line to be. So you had so Brett got Kate Mulgrew's Admiral Janeway lines and vice versa. Now that's not the finished product. Obviously, they then have to put their own personality in it too, or they have to make it broader or.
So what you're saying is they were like they would listen to how Kate Mulgrew would sound doing those lines, and then he would kind of do them himself.
Right. So he would do his spin on it. And to me, that made sense because you would think, well, they should have a feel for now by how each other are doing the lines, but they aren't, they've never seen the show when they're recording those lines. The show is not. come out.
When they were
Right.
recording this, they would have had no common frame of reference.
And they don't record together because of, various restrictions. So
That'd make it tough.
they didn't have a strong enough sense solo to, there was no foundation to
Yep.
build that on. So then they had a foundation. Oh, okay. And Kate might have said, well, I don't know if I can really, or that seems a little too over the top. Let me dial that back a little bit or something. But,
Yeah.
I think that that's why you get that sense both physically with how inept Dal was, but also aided by the fact that they really seem to embody those other characters so much.
Yeah, they even had Janeway had the kind of manner I was joking about him stumbling in the hallway like he didn't know how to walk in high heel. Well, she didn't have high heels, but in some kind of heels. And then he was doing stuff like with his hands, like he would have been doing himself. As he's trying to think or figure something out. He was doing all those kind of things in her body, which I thought was cool.
The animators had a lot of fun with it as much as the actors doing the voices.
Yeah,
you know what? I would almost say this was that they did this as well as when Spock had swapped bodies in Strange New Worlds.
Right. I was going to mention that we've got a couple of things that are happening. I think this is I don't think this is the first time this season of Prodigy where I've said another Trek series did this year, but another Trek series did this year with Spock and T'Pring. They obviously the setup was different, the resolution was different, and the implications were different. But it was interesting to have two body swaps, if you will.
Yeah.
That's not a common thing we see in Star Trek.
Now it's a trope.
Well, we'll be talking more about tropes before the evening is over.
Well, I thought I loved the one. As a matter of fact, I just saw it the other day too. The mind swap and them going back and forth saying Captain Pike, Chris.
Yeah.
Pike. That was trying to keep it straight. That was funny.
She got so familiar all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Now, what do we think about the Diviners and his change of heart? Because he goes into, well, first of all, at the beginning of this episode, he has something in his hand and he goes into the cabin and opens up the closet door, as closet doors have louvered doors in the future. But I don't know what his intent was in that moment. However, later in the episode, when Dal, for all intents and purposes, is strapped onto the medical bed, he lets her go, saying that, he realizes that, she's been nothing but respectful to him, and she and the crew saved him, and he wants her to go, save his daughter. So very much a change of heart. First of all, what do you think he was going to be doing when he went to the quarters at the beginning of the episode? And what did you think about his change of heart? Was it deserved by what we've seen happen in the second half of the season?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to jump to the change of heart thing. That one confused me a bit. He's been on this mission for how long? And this has been his sole purpose in life. And suddenly he has a change because someone was kind to him. Wasn't his daughter kind to him earlier? It didn't seem to add up. Like suddenly he had this shift.
Yeah, I agree. It was like, okay, that was convenient. That's what I was thinking, towards the last two episodes, because there wasn't like something like he saw. I almost say, I know I'm comparing this to Star Wars, but when Vader saw Luke standing up for him against the Emperor, it wasn't that kind of thing where it was epic enough for him to go start realizing, maybe I'm wrong here. There wasn't anything that really stuck out that seemed like he should change his mind. So I thought it was a little convenient in the story writing department.
I looked at it this way, that he has this memory wipe or block going on. So he only has a frame of reference to the Federation and Starfleet of what he's experiencing in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's experiencing in the moment is, are you okay? Everything all right? We'll find your daughter, don't worry about it. We're just going to disable the ship. We're not going to destroy the ship. And, all these things that are very much Federation and Starfleet principles to go by. And then he has to come to grips with that because he's reminded by the Vindicator that this is your mission. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And he's suddenly having trouble reconciling those two things because she is very much just, even though she's experienced the same things, but she's experienced the same things with Federation and Starfleet
Right.
without having a break. And he's essentially had a break. He's got to a point where it's like, I don't even know who I am. I don't know what's going on. And what I'm experiencing is this environment. And this environment is not one where, we got to, get those aliens and, do this and wipe out that is completely opposite to that. So
I thought he had pretty much a total recall at that point. He remembered his mission. He remembered who he was and what they're doing. So, damn the torpedoes full speed ahead. And then suddenly it's not.
Well, he remembered what the mission was, certainly, because you have that whole sequence in a previous episode, might even be the one right before this one, where Essentia is helping him remember the story of how the the Federation came and they left, type of thing. So he definitely remembers all that. And it wasn't at that point when he frees Janeway, he says he still has his mission to do. And I feel like he's not as hard on that mission, but he realizes that's what he's supposed to do because that's what is supposed to happen. But he's grateful to Janeway. So he says, I'm going to free you because you've shown me nothing but kindness. And if something were to happen to me, and I think this was the other turning point for him.
Take care of my daughter.
Right. That it's not protect my progeny. It's, take care of my daughter at that point. So he's kind of shifting his priorities in his head about what really the important things are. And because when they beam over, as we'll find out later, and he's still intent on doing what he's doing, but he's he needs that one more tipping point that does come along to say, I'm not, this is not cool. This is not cool. Right. So I think it was on a continuum, but I kind of wish that had been made a bit clearer in the last episode or two, where
especially for, theoretically a kid's show, are they going to be able to read into that?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Cause look, I'm having trouble trying to read into it.
You're
the target audience. A kid.
Well, that's why I'm here to help.
That's why I think we said this when it was first announced. Like, well, if the target audience is an 8-year-old mind, we're the audience.
That's right. Sign us up.
That's they pitched a little high for me, but close enough.
Right.
Another question is: it's been 400 years. Federation and Starfleet seem permanently hung up on the whole augments thing. And I don't know, it just seems like it's getting old for them.
Well, consider, I'm sure you realize this, but consider we got 2 little augment stories going on in Strange New Worlds and in Prodigy. So
as I said, these things are other tropes are repeating here.
It is it seems like a little much. You would think an augment, even or anybody, if they applied to Starfleet, you would think they would go through the same tests and vetting and everything like everything else. So their motives would be just as pure as anybody else's, right?
Presumably so. And, an augment can mean so many things. I mean, if you have some sort of emergency gene therapy, they go, nope, you're out.
I got my knee replaced.
Nope. You're out.
Yeah. I broke my ankle and I got a little screw in there. Is
Nope,
that
you're
nope,
out.
nope. You're out. You're out.
I'm gonna take
Dang.
the other approach, and I'm glad they're sticking to their guns, right through DS9 and the whole Bashir thing.
Oh yeah.
So, it's I think if you're going to have a principle that, Star Trek is notorious for changing their minds and, suddenly what happened to that rule? I mean, just look at the Prime Directive and how many times that's been broken, let alone bent.
Oh, once or
Um,
twice.
it's like, here's one we can stand by. Yep, it might be racist, but so at least they're sticking to their guns on something.
I was having a conversation with this about someone, and I said, I feel like augments have to be there just so Starfleet has a weak link. Like it's Utopia, except if you're an augment, then not so much. That there somehow has to be a class division somewhere. And that's where they drew the line.
Yeah, that's where I was getting to.
And based on nothing that they did, based on something that somebody 400 years ago did,
or something that their parents did unknowingly, or well, knowingly, but not recognizing the ramifications as the child grew up.
I don't know. Maybe Khan's second go at it when he, with Genesis said, nope, we're sticking to those guns. We thought we were going to loosen up on it for a bit there for a couple of years, but then he came back. Nope, that's it. Nope.
Khan ruined it for everyone.
Stupid Khan.
What about
that's what we're going to call the topic is Trek Get Together. Stupid Khan.
Yeah, stupid Khan.
Well, I know Khan, of course, was a long time ago, but I wonder, Lon, she's his descendant. Does that not figure into augments also?
Well, that's why she was arrested, is because she withheld the fact that she was an augment. And again, proves my point. It's like,
no, number one was.
Number one did. Number one got
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Or Una for.
Yeah.
For those keeping score.
Sorry.
She was arrested. Lon, I was like, well, she was an augment, or she's a descendant of one.
She's a descendant of one. Now, if the question is with the descendant is how far removed by that point are you that it's like, yeah, well, there's did a DNA test. Oh, we need Dr. Noor all of a sudden, but you do
where's he at?
And you find maybe one or two genes that are turned off that are the only remnants of that by that point, because that's 300 years. Is it 200 years or 300 years? I mean, it's a long time.
200 years is going to be roughly 8 to 10 generations. And after 8 generations, you've got 128th of the original DNA in your system, which is totally insignificant. So yes, we should have had this discussion with Dr. Noor. Get him back on the show.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that's how she's able to, yes, she's related, but as far as her genealogy goes within her cells, I'm not sure there'd be much there to work with.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just throwing that out. I was just thinking to an extension, but yeah.
But I mean, because my mind was going to the fact that number one and Bashir and the other augments that come on board Deep Space Nine in that those couple of episodes that he grew up with.
I love that show. What a bunch of misfits.
But they weren't, they weren't out to conquer the world and do harm. Matter of fact, if I recall correctly, the augments actually helped in one of the episodes that with Bashir. So, and number one has not done anything wrong. So it just kind of points out it's a very bizarre guideline for everything. It's like, absolutely not. You can't. Nope, you're out. If we find out, you're out. Just out.
Yeah, I agree that they've taken a hardline approach on it, maybe over rotated.
Hey, by the way, a little tangent. side point here. Did was
The bench
right?
recognizes the sidebar.
Yeah, is there not was there not news this week? I just saw it floating by that Alexander Siddig was coming back for as Bashir in Section 31. Is that right? Is that rumor or is that true?
Boy, I've been doing so many catching up on news stories. I haven't got up to present day, so
Well,
that I don't know either.
Well, I see it on a couple of the sites that are
Well, if you see it on
questionable about
Giant
their.
Freaking Robot, don't
Yeah,
believe it to begin
I'm
with.
not sure about that, but I think that was kind of speculation anyway that he was going to. So I thought, oh, that sounds reasonable, but I didn't know if you had seen it anywhere else.
That'd be interesting because that would set it in a time that's not consistent with. Well, Giorgio could go anywhere, I suppose. So because she just steps through the Guardian forever, and we don't know where
I want to
she's
go
headed.
in the TNG era.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and save Edith Keeler.
Was that bad of me? Sorry.
And then Kirk marries her, retires, and that was the end of TOS.
Spock is stuck with his vacuum tubes.
He's still trying to make it work today.
Dying over here.
All right. I'm sorry. Let's move along. All right. Next question.
All right.
What'd you say?
All right. So, do we think that was a lot of ships to be there to greet the protostar? I mean, I counted at least 3 dozen.
Actually, I was thinking, were that many ships at Wolf 359?
Yeah, and this is a ship that, okay, we know that it attacked, the listening post of the relay station, but aside from that, and they stole a starship, but it's a prototype starship. It's not that big.
Yeah.
Why in the world do you need 3 dozen plus?
And they don't know there's a weapon on board,
right?
No, they don't. It was still unknown until they opened communications.
Right. So they have no idea of that. Janeway has not had a chance to get that message out. It just now I don't know whether Essentia kind of played heavy-handed with any message she might have relayed to Starfleet about the threat.
Look, when Jellicoe says, "I need ships there now," they all show up.
When Jellicoe says you should wear a regulation uniform.
That's right.
Troy there.
That's right.
I don't know, just to me seemed
that
like
was a lot.
Crazy.
And then of course, during the course of that last little bit, there was more showing up.
Right. And
we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I guess.
Right. So to me, it just seemed like, I would expect to have, I don't know, you could have like 5 or 6 ships there, and maybe, and you'd want them to be, if you consider that much of a threat, you'd want them to be your heavy cruisers, not just every ship in the fleet, science vessels, all.
Here's a freighter.
Yeah, exactly.
The garbage
scow full of quadritriticalion is just like in the background.
Right.
Pew pew pew.
Right.
All right. So that is, unless somebody has some, do anybody have anything else they want to say about Mindwalk? I've got like tons of fun moments and quotes. I love the fact that Murph gives Dr. Nuana a raspberry as they're floating by each other.
Yeah. I thought, I don't know. I thought the whole mind swap thing was really cool, the way they did it. And they were trying to sort it out. Maybe am I skipping into the next episode?
Nope.
Where they started trying to sort it out and figure out how to get things straight. And when they did the mind swap, I thought, okay, this is a way to kind of resolve the story, because I know Janeway was already getting the idea a little bit of kind of what's going on or something's not right. And then the mind swap, of course, they clued her in on everything. And so I thought, oh, this is a great way to wrap it up. But having to go outside the ship and touch each other, I thought, wow, that's going to be.
Couldn't have written it on the windows. Don't come in here.
I was thinking, look, send out a little tube with a note in it, or something. I don't know. Yeah, write it on a banner, fly a banner behind the ship, like on a plane.
Open up a window, throw it out.
Janeway, marry me.
What are they unfurling behind that ship? Oh, you know,
I know,
At
just
warp.
they let it go for a second. It's just gone now. It went out of warp all of a sudden.
I thought when they were at warp, I thought there were a couple of incredible things that, merging the warp bubbles was one of them. And then doing a spacewalk.
Merging the warp bubbles is not the first time it's happened. They merged warp bubbles on Enterprise.
Oh, did they?
Yep, they had they were in like a speed moment where the Enterprise couldn't drop below warp 5 or it would explode. So
right.
Trip had to come back because he was on the Columbia, so they had to fly, top to bottom inside one warp field, and he could then go on a tether line between the two ships.
They pulled a Top Gun Maverick situation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Top Gun, rather. Yeah.
So that has happened before. I went back and I checked, and they refer to it obviously as the warp field, not the warp bubble, but exact same thing.
Phase pistol, whatever.
There we go.
There we go.
Gary's happy.
Enterprise. Look, he's even wearing the uniform. He's even wearing the uniform in his avatar. Right. Solar sail.
And I did want to point out, I think my favorite line of the entire episode, amongst many one-liners in there, was, "As your doctor, I order you to drink this coffee."
Yeah. I know. I thought of you when I heard that. That's right.
All righty. So let's rate this on. We're going to rate this on 1 to 10 Janeway cups of coffee. There we go.
Hooray!
Don't spit them out. Don't spit them out.
All right.
How does she drink this stuff?
Yeah. Which that in itself was also funny.
So always spit takes are always good. Let's start with Chuck on this one.
All right, I'm going to give this one a solid 8. I liked how it moved the storyline along. I thought that, there were a few confusing points, like the diviner's turn of mission, opinion, whatever you want to call it. But overall, very enjoyable. 8 cups of coffee.
All righty.
Wow.
And how about you, Craig?
I pretty much echo what Chuck said about the diviner and everything. So I thought the humor was enough to kind of break it up, like as you mentioned earlier. So I'm gonna give it an 8.5 cups of coffee.
Mm-hmm. And I am also going to give it 8.5. I felt like it borderlined being too much. It walked the line, but I think I had to keep. This is an episode where I had to keep in mind it's a show designed at a younger audience, that it's not too over the top for a younger audience.
Right. I think at one point they, like the raspberry, or I think they had fart jokes or something in one of the episodes, or poop jokes.
Yeah.
Always fun. And when the slime came down, though, that's when I was, I drew the line at slime.
Right.
That was Murph.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's Murph.
Who is extremely stretchy, by the way, but even Murph has a limit, apparently. You can't go beyond that limit.
Right.
So I am also going to give it 8.5 cups of Janeway coffee.
All right.
All right. So we're going to move on to our finale, and I'm lumping them together as parts 1 and parts 2. So there's a lot in here. Craig, why don't I read the part with the credits, and you can do the mission briefing?
Sure.
Sound
Go
good?
ahead. Yep.
Okay. So this is Star Trek Prodigy Supernova parts 1 and 2, which of course is season 1, episodes 19 and 20. Part 1 was written by Erin McNamara. Erin McNamara has served as a writer's assistant on season 1 of Prodigy. This is her first solo writing credit. And part 2 was written by the Hagemans, Kevin and Dan. The Hageman brothers are co-creators of Star Trek Prodigy. Their previous work includes the screenplays for Troll Hunters, Rise of the Titans, The Croods, A New Age, and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. as well as TV series, including Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu, among others. This is their 5th individually credited script for the series. Directed by Andrew L. Schmidt and Ben Hibben. We discussed Andrew Schmidt's directing credits in episode 127, but a lot of credits was given in episode 127.
No kidding.
Among other projects, Ben Hibben's work includes the 3-minute sequence in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 entitled The Tale of the Three Brothers. He serves as an co-executive producer on Star Trek Prodigy. These 2 episodes represent his 3rd and 4th times directing Prodigy.
All right. And the mission briefing is: the living construct has brought the protostar to the heart of the Federation space, where it finds itself surrounded by dozens, only dozens, Clinton, of Starfleet vessels.
Hundreds!
Yeah,
I can't believe I traveled millions of miles.
Thousands.
there were tens of ships. Anyway, the Janeway knows about the threat hiding on board the protostar. However, Dal's actions while in her body, let that sit for a second, have forced Dr. Nuam.
Kept trying to rewrite that. I
Noam.
couldn't do any better than that.
Yeah, Dr. Noam to deem her medically unfit for command and landed her into the brig. Admiral Jellicoe orders the Dauntless to get a boarding party onto the protostar, not knowing that it is exactly what Essentia and the Vindicator wants. But all hope is not lost, as Zero has managed to hotwire some bridge controls, allowing the protostar to maneuver away from phaser fire. And on board the Dauntless, the brig security guard, a former
Bernari.
Yeah, I don't know why I spaced on that. Bernari refugee.
Bernari cabinet at IKEA, by the way.
Stop that.
Yeah, that's right. Releases the Admiral from her holding cell. Which I think that was a nice touch, by the way.
Well, this was a couple of episodes full of, the first part was full of, oh, good, they're going to save things. Oh, things are looking bad. Oh, good, they're going to save things. Oh, things are looking bad. Oh, when we got to the end of part 1 and we've had our final, oh, it looks like things are going to be better because, the diviner is turning and then the diviner is killed. And they send the message out. Did you think the message was going to get out and what happened after that was going to happen? Honestly, did you in your gut, did you think that signal was going to get out and this whole fight was going to begin?
I felt like that they were going to figure out a way to or neutralize it or fake it out where it would think it was contacting the ships and not do it. I thought they would figure out something before it actually did any damage.
I thought it'd get out, but I didn't expect a firefight to ensue immediately. I thought it would go through and shut down all the computers and cause chaos at a more subconscious level, if you will, rather than all out firefight. Because immediately, if you want to show machines are bad, you turn all the LEDs red. So
yep.
Yeah, all the
turn them on
the
to
windows.
All the windows. It's like suddenly everybody's room light turned red, going, oh dear, this can't.
Yeah, that
be
was
good.
funny. Yeah.
Well, presumably that's the entire ship is just on red alert at that point, which is why the windows turn red.
But yeah, it was just funny because you could see it. Well, they did it as a visual cue, so you knew that something was going on.
Right. This one good, this one bad.
And as they were working through all of their scenarios to try and do something about this, I kept thinking those ships were still shooting each other out in the space. It seemed like it took a long time to resolve that.
Kind of the casual conversation that they're having on the Protostar bridge, which is all clear. And so every direction they look in, they just see Federation ships firing at each other.
But we're okay.
Yeah. Hey, nobody was firing on the Protostar, which wasn't that the source of the problem. So maybe
but
the construct has a self-protect mechanism or something.
Right. I have a feeling that was the deal, that the construct says, I'm not going to let you blow me up. I'm going to keep doing my thing.
Yeah, but you're right. That conversation lasted what seemed like 40 minutes and the ships were still
Thank goodness they didn't say we should sleep on it and reconvene in the morning.
Yeah.
I had too much coffee today, and I'm kind of nervous, and I don't know. I did spit it out.
Let's get together after breakfast tomorrow morning.
We got a new one to add to the Wikipedia of Star Trek, a slippery dipsy doodle.
Yes, that's great. Just call it something else.
That's right. That's right.
It definitely looked like gravity was involved. Speaking of gravity, we got to see what a gravity mine was.
Yes. And we got to learn that Jankum Pog is apparently extremely dense.
Well, we knew that.
Well, a brick car landed on top of him and he just went, oof.
And I was thinking, that's the last person you want being pulled down by gravity on top of you.
Right.
What's this puddle underneath Rock Talk? Oh, that used to be Jankum Pog. Oh, sorry.
How did Essentia / Vindicator know Janeway's history so well? She was having a conversation and mentioned, well, you saved the Devore people, and we're like, or you lied to the Devore people and then set them free. Like that was a very
no. That was the security guard. That was the Bernari in security that said, "Oh, I know about your past. You did this thing," and then she says, "And I was one of those."
Oh, okay. I got those two mixed up then. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, she would know a lot about Janeway. I mean, however long she's been in Starfleet and she's been serving with Janeway.
Or had access to the database. Yeah.
Yeah, she accessed all the records, Starfleet records, troop strengths.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
It's just there's no password on it anymore. They just we know it's gonna happen. So
Spock walks up with two hands, the computer,
double fist.
Because
that's the password. The double fist hit.
Thank you, Spock. The superior intellect. There we go. Yeah, I was taken by surprise, and as I rewatched the episode, I felt the same way. That I mean, I knew what was coming this time around, but well, if we do this, that will help, and then that gets cut off at the knees by something, and then something else happens, and it just, Janeway knows about it, and I thought, okay, why did not Janeway do an emergency teleport to the bridge? And I finally figured out why she didn't. My guess is because the computer system would say, you're in the brig. I can't transport you out of the brig.
Oh,
even though it would identify her someplace else. It's still
like you've been assigned to the brig kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, why would I
some sort of protocol that says nobody transports out of the brig, bar none.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Michael Burnham couldn't get out of it.
But even so, I mean, she's, okay, she's free. She's going to get to the bridge. She's going to give some message that stalls, that will, give them that moment to do it. And she's just that late getting to the bridge.
No.
Relay that hailing order.
No. That's right. I did think you have it listed here. I was thinking about this too. I thought it was a little weird that they were trying to convince the Klingons to help out. It's like, of all races, the Klingons, but
right. And I wrote down what Gwyn says, which I thought was like, this is a better speech than Janeway gives at the end. Because in the infinite of space, everyone needs to know that there's a place out there willing to accept us all, no matter how different we think we are. Without Starfleet, the Federation crumbles, and that dream dies with it. So it's like,
I thought it was a nice speech. It made sense.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was one of the better ones, and had meaning beyond just that situation.
I just thought it was funny that the Klingons were the ones that she was reaching out to or had to.
Well, I think that was deliberate, right? Because you figured the Klingons get the message, and it's like either they're not going to respond at all to what she's asking, or they're going to go, "Oh, excellent! Let's go in and finish them off."
Yeah. Oh, great. I got in touch with the brain.
What are you saying? I don't understand you. Take off the helmet, for crying out loud.
None of the Klingons said it's a good day to die, though.
That's right.
No, they were on a rescue mission, so they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And we got to see a lot of ships in that fleet that was firing, including
The Cerritos.
no, I don't think the Cerritos was there, but we
It
got
they
turned
would have
tail
turned away.
and
They
ran.
would have turned away and left.
yeah,
They would
it
have
was
seen
like
that.
nice fight. Too bad we can't stay.
Yeah, that's going to be the intro of next season.
I hope so. I hope
Lower Decks.
so. All the Starfleet ships are firing on each other. Nobody's firing on the cube, and the Cerrito hightails it.
Yeah. I'm
They're-
surprised we didn't see Okona again.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I thought that was a setup that Okona was going to come back,
Like-
at this point as well, because
Maybe like
Again,
see the
that's
White
so
Knight kind of thing,
unceremoniously just bye-bye, I'm leaving, I'm out.
or at least, hey, look who I brought, and brought some help. That wasn't Starfleet ships.
Of
Or
course,
something.
that would be too much of a hearken to the ending of Prodigy.
he just-
of Lower Decks.
He had
But
a
he just-
DJ gig to get to, all right?
Yeah, a Ren Fair. He was like some character from the Renaissance Festival. That's what he
So,
looked like. That's what
This brings up that two of the other tropes that current Trek seems to be going through. One of them is every season, and I think Discovery is the only one that's out on this. Every season seems to end with a giant fleet of ships.
No.
We had it at the end of season 1 and season 2 of Picard.
Yeah.
We've had it at least. We had one at the end of the season of Lower Decks. We have this one here in Prodigy, and it's coupled with, at the very last second, when all seems lost, out of nowhere comes a ship to get between. It's that first contact thing where the Enterprise zooms in and takes the phaser fire. You have that with the Klingon ship in here. You've had it with the Titan. There always seems to be that last minute to the point where you can start to predict, okay, I think next season, making our predictions, next season, one of the shows will do a trope where this will happen. I think they've all been effective up to this point. I'm just nervous about them continuing to do it.
Yeah. Wait for the ships. Wait for the ship.
I like all the commentary on your comment there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree, Bob.
Yep.
So-
Next.
I don't know
Wow.
how closely you looked at all the ships that did show up, but I did. We obviously saw Defiant.
Yep.
But I was trying to go back
Somebody
and look
says
at some
the
of the
E
ships.
is in there as well. The Enterprise E.
I think it was, if I remember correctly. But there were some other ships that looked familiar. Well, a lot of the designs look familiar, but they just got different names on. I was trying to figure out what I was in there, but obviously Defiant was shooting other ships. But yeah, I think their E was in there.
And lots of classes of ships,
Yeah, right.
from all over the place. It wasn't I don't think it was the Hagemans, but somebody said that when questioned about, well, should this ship be there and that ship be there? And they said, quite honestly, we just saw it as one big Easter egg for the fans about what ships were showing up in there. And,
Throw them all in.
we didn't really, I mean, if they, TOS Enterprise show up, I'm going, what's that doing there? But, aside from that,
Right.
I think they just felt like, hey, all the ships are going to come up here. They're all going to blow up anyway. So
Phoenix putters on by.
Right. The Phoenix.
We don't
You can hear
have communications
the
with the
music.
ship. We're fine.
Well, that could only go warp 1, so that it would show up at the very end. Hey, I'm here. What's up?
I like to ride.
It's like Sputnik coming up to the last.
Dave was like,
it got real dark in there as well when they realized that, wait a minute, the Federation ships keep showing up. Why are they still showing up here? Because every ship that gets damaged sends out a distress call, and another
right.
ship comes along. So it's pretty much going to wipe out every
But
ship
if
in the
you
fleet.
sent out a distress call, wouldn't it be infected at that point of origin and start firing on, whatever Starfleet stuff is around? Why does it have to come to the party to start turning red and firing?
Well, I noticed that when
I think it had
the
to be
ships were firing. They had this little like you would see the construct and then an image of a ship, like it was targeting. Okay, this ship now needs to be infected, and
yeah.
It made it feel like they wrote the worst virus in the world. Like it only had
it was a
Bluetooth
Bluetooth
range.
virus. It had
Yeah,
to,
that's what I was thinking. It's like this is
Proximity.
the worst virus anyone's ever written because it has a limited range and it can only affect you. It's like, anyway,
Yeah, I have a feeling that whatever ship was communicated to as in a distress call sense, when they wouldn't get infected until it got close enough. So that was the whole thing. It was asking ships to come. When they would come, then it would be close enough to be infected, and then they would start attacking each other.
didn't
But
seem like a very effective way to do it.
right,
No.
to Chuck's point, if that's the strategy and the sole strategy of how you replicate, well, you don't really replicate the virus, you just infect
Right.
a line of sight. That at a certain point, you'll have ships that are too distant and can't answer the call, or the Federation and Starfleet started to go, hold on a second, we haven't heard back from any of these ships. I think we need to hold back
Right.
some of the
Don't
fleet
send them.
here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
that
doesn't
was-
seem like it would be very complete unless it was self-replicable.
Right.
but it does bring up the point that no matter when it ended, that was the decimation of a lot of Starfleet vessels. So
Yes, that's gonna hurt.
Starfleet's in pretty rough shape at this point. And I'm trying to remember, there's like 3 years difference between them, and the chat may be able to help me out with this as well, is Prodigy or Lower Decks, like I can't remember which order they're in. They're within 3 years of each other. I think that, and I can't remember which one is which.
Well, that sounds logical.
Um,
Because
So
Discovery
which is
is
why
way
you-
out here. Strange New World's way in the past. So yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, but I think like, Picard, Lower Decks, and Prodigy are all within 20 years of each
Yeah.
other in
Right.
there. And those two shows are very close because I'm thinking, depending on, oh, right. I think it was Lower Decks is 3 years before Prodigy. So you could, in theory, have a California class ship, I suppose, in that fight,
Mhm.
because the California class is just a workhorse class. We don't know how, at least I don't know offhand when it got, into service.
But they're only good
But-
for second contact. So after the battle happened, then
I
they'll-
see. They're just kind of like, oh, we got to clean up all this debris here.
we're ready to
Probably
go
gonna-
talk to the Valnakat now.
No, that's what happens.
That's what happens. They
Right.
screwed it up. It had nothing to do with Protostar and Chakotay. It was all on Boimler.
Oh, well, dear old Boimler. Hey, found the cat. You've been boimed.
So the ending, where they 1 month later.
Yes.
Oh, well, first we didn't talk about the destruction of the Protostar, spreading it across light years.
I thought
And
that
once
was pretty
again,
cool.
did you see that? Did you see that coming? Did you?
I
Think they
did
were gonna
not. I
figure a
thought that
way?
was a very innovative way, if somewhat tough to swallow at first. Like, okay, so you got an explosion at
Mhm.
warp, and it somehow makes this nebula or supernova.
Well,
okay, 'cause
I
it's a
don't think they were.
protostar.
Yeah, I mean, they exploded it. They said they were timing it to the point where the supernova would ignite at the same point at which it reached its warp, so that the idea that it was just going to travel in that same line and dispel its energy, linear and not in a wide area in one
Did he get
space.
choked up when Janeway sacrificed herself?
Yeah, we got to find out the limits of what you can fit on an isolinear chip as well.
I got her right here. There you go.
You got Janeway. Oh,
Yeah.
you got two disc, chip 1 and chip 2 of Janeway.
Yeah, when
Wait, I
I
got
install them,
half
I got
the
to swap
Janeway
out all the
too.
chips.
I got the expansion pack.
Let me reinstall her. Insert disk number 1.
These
Insert
are
disk
only
number
the
2.
These are only the 4 gigaquad isolinear chips, not
Yeah,
the
see.
32s. If we
Yeah, you
got
gotta have
32s from Amazon Prime Day, we could have fit her all on there.
Who needs to get
those will be in next
gigaquads?
Tuesday, so that
Yeah.
we can
Thanks,
take care of that.
Bill Gates was quoted as saying, "Who needs two gigaquads?"
Yeah.
Right?
Who
Was
needs
he
more?
dissing Janeway? Is that was he was
Yeah.
doing in that? I see.
That's right.
Very tiny.
Yeah, it was. I was not expecting it. I said to myself after the Zora thing, I messaged you guys going, well, I guess we know why it's not called, Star Trek Protostar, because there's no Protostar after the ending of season 1. So Prodigy works a bit better in that case.
Yep.
So I thought they would figure something out, but it would mean that they would not get to Starfleet by doing whatever they needed to do.
But
just
they
basically
did.
getting out of there.
They did, all except one, and not the one we expected.
Right. That was a twist as well.
Yeah, I liked that, actually.
It made sense, and I'm wondering if that how early she would have been thinking about that, because she realizes that she's in a time period where the planet still exists, and maybe she should be the one doing this instead of what her father had in mind, even from the get-go. So I don't know how long ago she realized, no, I can't just go into Starfleet. I've got to go home.
And they give her a name, the Unifier.
Because everybody has a nickname on that planet. That's
Oh, we got to come up with nicknames on this show.
yes.
No, you don't want. I got one for you, Chuck, but you don't want to hear it.
Hey now. Hey now.
Show. Yeah, well, let's talk about those catchphrases at the beginning.
All right,
Yeah.
you two. I'm gonna have to separate you on this
Yeah,
chat.
that's right.
Hey, I put him in the brig.
Yeah, if you don't behave, I'll put you in separate quarters.
Zero got a new body, which looked very
Sleek.
alt-verse, not
Very
nice
Apple-
and white
no.
and clean.
I thought it looked very Apple-like.
Yeah, or Hal. Looked like Hal. One of the pods.
It looked like one of the early iMacs, with the little
The circle.
yeah, girl.
Or Eva or something from Wall-E.
Yeah.
I was also thinking she looked a bit like GLaDOS from Portal.
Yes, absolutely. Yep,
So,
sure did.
Many things.
And
many
we're left with the
things.
closing line from Janeway. Oh, I have much bigger plans for you.
Yeah.
Or for us. That's what it was. So, yeah, it kind of leads us into, what do you think will happen for season 2? Is that a person that we're probably not going to see anymore?
I would put that in predictions. Any
We can
speculation.
put that in predictions for next year.
Yeah. So if you think where it might be headed, I would throw that into your predictions.
Yeah. So hold that
anything
one.
like
Hold
that.
that one, please. All right.
All right.
Well, let's go ahead and. I'm sorry. What were you going?
I was just going to say, how many meeting halls does Starfleet HQ have? I swear, every time we go to Starfleet, it's like a different giant room there.
Yeah, they're all they just got a whole building of waiting rooms.
Where you have to look up at the the judicial panel or whatever it
Yep.
is.
Yeah, got to look up with respect.
All right. So who wants to give the rating system for this episode? These two episodes.
These 2 episodes together.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Protostars?
Yeah.
What are we rating it on?
Yeah, let's do it
we'll do
for
Protostars.
Protostars and
Pour one out. No, I can't.
Long live
Never
Protostar.
mind.
Right. I'm gonna say for this episode, I thought they wrapped it up really well, although they kind of stretched it out a little bit, I think. And some like we were talking about them discussing stuff while the ships were still attacking each other a little too long. Little fight scenes and a lot of huggy kissy, let's make up kind of stuff. Excuse me. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna give this a 9 because I think they wrapped it up pretty well in a nice little bow.
Okay. I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to give it a 9.5 Protostars.
Whoa.
Because they did things that I just really did not think they were going to do. I did not think that message was going to get out to Starfleet. I did not think we were going to see so much destruction of Starfleet. I did not think that they were going to blow up the
Get to
Protostar.
Starfleet.
Yeah, how they got to Starfleet HQ was kind of a mystery. It's like apparently all the ships have been destroyed because they could just go right into the bay and say hello to the whales before they get picked up off of their escape pod. But so I just felt like they did a lot of things that I really did not expect them to do. As I said, I really liked
in a good
that.
way, right?
Yeah, I really like that speech that that Gwyn gave to the Klingons about why should we help you. I liked it more than Janeway's speech, even though I liked Janeway's speech. So I think it, in spite of everything that happens in this episode, they somehow managed to turn it at the end to make it seem kind of uplifting. So that's a neat one to pull off in a two-parter like this. So I definitely rated extremely highly because of that.
Why would you not give it a 10? Where was that last half point?
10 is perfection, and I feel like there were some flaws in it, like the things we talked about, like how did the shuttlecraft just end up in the bay? Various just like little. I had a problem with the number of ships that show up. So I have to, give them a ship to show up, then we go from there, how
that poor San Francisco Bay. It's like everything happens there.
They landed on top of Nero's drill. That was never picked up. We've been trying to get that bill passed for decades.
and yet the Golden Gate Bridge is still there. So
covered with solar panels.
Although it gets, I think the Golden Gate Bridge gets destroyed once again in Enterprise.
Several times. Yeah.
So I think, but it's now put together very strongly, so won't come apart again.
It's kaiju proof.
Right.
All right. So those are our ratings on those. If you have,
I didn't rate, but I'll give it a 9.5 anyway. There you go.
I'm sorry. I thought you were.
Yeah. No, same here. There were a few little quirks, like you mentioned. Badly written virus probably being that's where my half point went, but 9.5 also.
Right. Okay. All right.
And overall, good season.
We could offer our services as technical consultants if they need something like that again. That's not how you'd write a virus.
Right. Oh, by the way,
I'll get the Hegemans on the. I'm sure they'll be very receptive to that idea.
And something, Clinton, that you mentioned, and you don't have it listed here at all, is we did get to see Dr. Aaron McDonald.
We did. Yeah, I do have it in my notes. That's right. Dr. Aaron was speaking to Rock Talk near the end, talking about biology and specific, not her specific field, which I thought was interesting. But that was very surprising. And I mentioned that right after the episode. I watched the episode, but I was mentioning to Chuck and Craig, and I had to be really cryptic about it, going, did anybody notice a strange Easter egg kind of thing going on in there?
That's
well, I was honestly too busy trying to pay attention to what the characters were doing.
Yes.
And I didn't think about it. And then I went, wait, she did look familiar. Once you said something, I had to go back and look and went, dang it. I'm surprised I didn't pick that up because it did.
Well, one of the reasons it stood out to me is because the first time you see her, and this gets to a point about the season overall and a gripe about the season, but understandable, and hopefully they can work some more on this. She's facing the camera, if you will. She's facing, towards the viewer, very prominent in the front, and the action is going on behind her for a second. Yeah. And her face not only looked like Dr. Aaron, but it was not the standard Prodigy background character face. Mm-hmm. She's got, red hair and, and defined features. So that stood out to me immediately when I went, wait a minute, is that? And then when she talked, I realized it was her. But the reason I bring that up is the reason it was so easy to spot is they have, I think, like 6 character models for just every generic character. The same person who was an Enterprisian is also the person in uniform who, the Vulcan in uniform who stops Admiral when, Janeway comes out of her quarters and says, oh, you're needed on the bridge, is the same character as the one who's now a Vulcan in a blue uniform rather than a red one, giving the briefing about the, so it's like, So I think that's a function of time and budget,
Mhm.
and what people will know.
Can she cosplay herself now?
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
call her out on that and say, "Get to the cruise. You got to cosplay yourself."
that's right.
And you go, not really feeling it. It doesn't
I
strike me.
just did that yesterday. So I was
Right.
making a video and I was wearing the same thing I am on one of our prominent web pages for our upcoming conference, and say, "Chuck, what do y'all dress up for?" I said, "I'm cosplaying that guy on the Knowledge Conference page," and one guy says, "Not quite there."
Yeah.
It's a
Needs
Work
more
picture
harder
of
at
me. It's a picture
Needs
of
more
It's a
me.
work.
work in progress.
That's right.
I said, "I'm working on the tie."
That's right. All right. I think we need to move along.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are
Timeline.
running long on this one, and we still got to do
All
our
right.
predictions.
Hey, and that
Exactly.
hurts coming from me.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start off, and we're going to look at our
There's your new
predictions.
nickname, blah blah blah.
Right. That's right.
We're going to look at the predictions we made last year for this year. That's where we're going to start off and see how we did on that. And then we're going to boldly go once again into doing this. So I will start off. And last year, I think I did, well, the previous time we did the reviews, I did really well. This time I did really bad. So my first prediction was it will be announced that Mary Chieffo will have a recurring role as Laurel in Strange New Worlds, which I'm still hoping will happen, but
Yeah.
did not happen last year. Gray, and this is on Discovery, Gray will become Discovery's ship's counselor. Did not happen. We will get casting news on the new Star Trek movie. Did not happen. However, we will see Captain April in Strange New Worlds. Did. Cute little tribble for me.
Right.
The least offensive sound effect I could find on a moment's notice.
All right,
Right.
so let's look at Craig's. For 2022, you predicted Eric's will appear as an officer on Strange New Worlds.
Still hoping for that though. That's I'm gonna say that's a slight carryover because I'm still looking forward to that.
And yeah, well, I still want Mary to be in Strange New Worlds. We will see Worf on Picard season 2 and possibly Robert Picardo.
Well, I was close. We're gonna see him in season 3.
Yeah, I had one of those too.
Yeah.
The DNA is tied to the evolved form of V'ger, last seen at the end of Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Hey, that would have been cool if they did that, but yeah,
Ain't that nice? But it's wrong.
that's right.
And one you did get is we will see Kyle on Strange New Worlds.
Yes,
So that was, and I thought that was a very, because
and he's
of all the
mean.
characters, you know.
Lieutenant Kyle is mean.
So one for Clinton, one for Craig.
Yeah.
Right. So I completely, blew it this
And
year.
that's
But
it. Thank you. Good night.
Have a good night. Keep
Now,
it
here's-
coming.
Here's lowball Chuck with his, no, I'm sorry. Here's Chuck's-
Patrick Stewart will appear in some Star Trek.
Yeah. Picard season 2 will not involve a familiar. Oh, wait a minute. You had that one wrong. I said would involve one. That's a wrong for you. Oh, you don't get that one. I
was counting the check marks.
We didn't do as well as I thought. So it did involve time travel and the mirror universe-ish type of thing. So, all right. But you did get when the source of the DMA is located, Cleveland Booker will try to attack it, no longer able to control his anger. Absolutely on that one.
Well, he had help too. Somebody stood in the fire
You
there.
did not get we will see Geordie LaForge in season 2 of Picard.
Well,
that was
Everyone
close.
was so close.
Yeah.
So we got to see him in teasers before season 3 came.
Yeah.
And we will learn what species Dal RL belongs to. Well, it's plural, but close enough. You get that one.
27? Was it 27 of them? Yeah.
Species is
26 different
26.
species.
All right.
All righty. So now we're going to go on for this year.
So that's
Once I
2.
started, I kept
Woohoo!
going.
I win.
Yes,
Okay, let's go around the table.
All right. So we'll go in this order that I have last year's. And so I say First off, this is my big one. This will be the last season of Discovery. That's my first prediction.
Ooh.
This will also be the last season of Picard.
Oh no, you can't do that.
No, that one's off the
can't do
table.
that.
I'm sorry.
Denied.
All right, here's my first one. I think we will hear an announcement for a Worf show.
Okay, that's been hinted around, so that's a good one.
They've been pitched and pitched and pitched. I'm sure it's going to happen.
Okay. And what about you, Chuck? You're first.
Strange New Worlds, we will see some TOS characters like Scotty McCoy or somebody like that appear.
Okay.
I know we saw Kyle, but we're going to get more of that.
That was also teased a little bit. We heard the Scotty's voice.
Did we? I didn't.
We did during the alternate timeline at one point when they were working
in the bloody bathroom.
Yes, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
He was in the Jeffries tube and he was handing out the wrench. Well, my second prediction is I can go with a different one since that one is the same as one of mine. So I'll take that one off just because I don't want to have a bunch of them the same. So we'll get rid of that one. There will be no word at all on the next Star Trek theatrical movie. Nothing. There'll be radio silence for this entire year on that.
Wow, that's bold.
Okay. Well, my prediction was we'll have a new Star Trek movie on the horizon, not including the current cast.
Okay, so not set in the Kelvin universe.
Well, I'm not saying that, but it'll be a different. Well, maybe a reboot or different crew or
Voyager is coming back again.
I mean, we're not going to see the Pine Crew. Is what I meant to say.
Okay, fair enough. How about you, Chuck?
For Discovery, Burnham won't serve her full sentence, and I'm going to put a two-parter on here. She'll find another love interest.
Do you mean Book won't serve his full sentence?
She's going to dump Book or get lonely without him and fall for somebody else.
What sentence is she serving?
Yeah, what sentence? Book is the one who got arrested. And
she got hauled off, didn't she?
No. I mean, she did at the end of season 1, but
she didn't serve that.
No, actually, not at the end of season 1, at the end of the second episode of season 1.
I thought.
No, she's on board Discovery.
They're all happy now.
Book gets taken off to serve.
Oh, maybe I had that wrong. Then change this to Book won't serve his full sentence.
Hey, we can't change predictions on the fly.
That happens because
I wrote it wrong. Let's just say that.
Yeah, you were still confused when we pointed out to you. I'm getting an assist on that one.
And Book won't serve his full sentence, and Burnham is going to dump him anyway.
Wow, harsh, man, just harsh. All right, I put down. This is a lowball one that I'll throw in there. We will get word on the next Trek series to go into rotation on Paramount Plus. Not saying anything in particular. I know that Craig mentioned the Worf series, but I'm saying we're just going to get. We know that there's stuff in development, but we haven't heard boo out of anybody about what that thing is. So there's no guarantee that's coming next year. But I figure with Picard ending, that's a great time to.
Yeah, not a prediction per se, but I have a feeling that Section 31 is going to be the next one they're going to announce.
Okay, so do you have another?
Yes.
Prediction?
Oh, I've got several.
Okay.
So we will see. This is kind of in the vein of what Chuck was just saying, but we will see Mud on Strange New Worlds. Like Rainn Wilson Mud.
Right. Well, Roger C. Carmel would be really hard to pull off. Pull up.
Well, they really good. You got him back. No, I think
they've
done
done stuff like that though. Somebody older comes back as a different character.
Well, he would be. I mean, he's the right age to be that character at that point. Rainn is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one to pull off because you can't have Spock there. You can't have. I mean, if you want to, stay true to the premise, although the Gorn kind of threw that off at this point. But
maybe they're off at a conference.
Because they shouldn't know. I mean, they would know when he shows up that it's look, it's Harry Mudd. How you doing, Harry?
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to be on there. Just
Okay, interesting.
So I wrote this one on Monday the 26th, and then it came true on the 29th when the final episode of Prodigy comes. Did I get
All right.
this? Do I get a point for this already? I said they're going to make an exception to the augment rule for Dahl.
But they didn't really. So you would have got it wrong.
He's in Starfleet.
He's
like
he's a war.
he's an
he's a war-
intern.
Yeah.
Sir.
He's a
I mean,
contractor.
she kind of Janeway kind of goes out of her way to kind of dance around whether or not
They're
he's
under
in
his
Starfleet.
wing. He's going to get in. All right, then I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to say there's going to be an exception to the augment rule for Dahl.
Okay, that works.
There you go.
There you go.
And and what was it? I have a note here that says pushed off to 2024. Like they said, Prodigy, the next season will be available later in 23, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't do
see
another
how-
split season.
I don't see how it could happen unless, well, they did say that they were working on season 1 for a very long time. At least Dr.
Yeah, they've
North
been
said
working on season 2 already, I think.
2.5 years. Okay, so
Yeah, I think they're already done recording all the audio for it.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep going around the table.
All right. Clinton, you got
All
one more?
right. I've got a couple more here. We will see or have mention of Dr. Roger Corby on Strange New Worlds. As we know, that's a love interest for Nurse Chapel.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Ooh.
think we're going to find out how that relationship was going.
Get an origin story.
Yeah. Might be a flashback. I don't know, but I think we're going to get something in there.
Where, chicka, where.
Oh yeah. All right. How about you,
All right.
Craig?
All right. Somehow, not sure where, we will see some of the characters from Prodigy in real life. Kind of like they're doing with Lower Decks.
So do you want to, coaching you on your prediction, do you want to have it be in real life or just a crossover, which would also allow you to do Lower Decks?
Yeah, you could go. I was going to say something about the other direction.
That's up to you. I just was wondering.
Let's do a crossover, I guess.
Okay.
I was thinking, well, just like, well, no.
You want to stick with it? Okay. No,
I think
fine.
just like we're seeing Lower Decks become real. Actually, we're going to see that's a crossover too, because you're going to see Pike animated. That's
Yep.
what they said. So
Right. Which
yeah,
I think Anson let that slip out by mistake. That's going to
all right.
happen.
I'm gonna say crossover. I'll say crossover then, because somehow it's going to be they're either back and forth. Yeah, it'll be crossover.
Yeah, I mean it just gives you more options in that case. All right, Chuck, got anything else?
I have a note next to Prodigy that just says how to predict. that show just doesn't. It's too hard to make predictions for me because you could throw anything at it.
Yeah.
The last one I have agrees sort of with one of your earlier ones, Clinton. It says movies, more delays for Star Trek 4. So you said we will hear absolutely nothing. I said, well, if we do hear something, it's going to be more delays.
Alrighty, I got a lot of Strange New Worlds in here, but I think it's the last one for Strange New Worlds. We will see or have mention of, because Kirk is in this, of Gary Mitchell.
Ooh.
So, the callback to Where No Man Has Gone Before, the second
Didn't they
pilot
go to the academy together?
They did a lot of things together. I think they probably went on bar crawls together and so forth. So
what about Finnegan?
I was going to say Finnegan, but first of all, I don't think you want to be doing that character in 2023. So probably not.
They have a Me Too uprising or something.
Yeah. All right. I have a wild card one here.
Okay.
Edward from the Short Treks will return.
Ooh.
King of the
surrounded
Tribbles.
by a bunch of tribbles.
Yeah.
Wearing his underwear.
He became a tribble. Yeah.
King of the Tribbles.
They're all meat, kind of like a scallop.
Hmm.
Now, I think Edward's going to return. Just probably not, but that's just a wild card.
Okay. No, that's good. Chuck, you got any more in there?
I'm out.
Okay. I've got Voyager A will appear on Prodigy.
Is that not what we saw at the end of the episode?
No, what we saw at the end of the episode was the rollout of a protostar in the line.
Oh, another.
But I
They
don't
said they made
get
it
the
a
impression
they
that
made
it
a
was
protostar class, but they didn't divulge the name of that ship. Did
Yeah.
they?
What if it's? Yeah.
but they walk away from that
Yeah,
ship, and Janeway says, "Oh,
and
I've
that's
got
what she said. I got
bigger."
big plans for us.
And really, the protostar is I mean, it's a good size for a small crew, but that's not the mission that Janeway's leading.
Yeah.
So I imagine there's more people on the vessel for this mission that they're going
Sure.
on.
There's a deleted
So-
scene where Dal goes, "That's our ship." The deleted scene is no, it's the one right beside it. It's
Yeah,
the
not
Voyager.
it's like a Hertz commercial. Not exactly. Her mission is we're gonna take a stopover at the Sarlacc pit.
Sorry.
Okay. I got one more, but you got any more,
right.
Craig?
No, I'm out. I'm out.
Okay. And my last one is Barclay will appear in Picard.
That's pretty bold.
I thought I'd said that at one point.
No, they had
We've been saying
not-
that for years.
No, I mean not in these predictions, but I thought I said that at one point. Okay, but I'm with you on that. I think he's going to show up.
All right.
So
So
we've
we're
been
gonna
asking when they announced, like, who's going to show up on Picard? Like, when they announced the show was even going to be a thing, we're like, who's going to be on there? Let's bring back Reg Dwight. Yes.
Yeah. Let's bring back the Binars. Let's bring back the
Binars.
That's like in episode 16 through 50 on this show.
If you see an episode titled 1001111, you know, oh look, they are back. If Barclay isn't back, I would get it because of all the characters. He really kind of had a end story in Voyager, but I just have a feeling he's going to be back anyway.
Yeah,
I just have this feeling.
Or Matt Frewer's character.
Who better to deal with Moriarty than someone who has an obsession with the holodeck?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He could build a copper coil out of a still and get rid of him.
He just wants to shake Moriarty's hand. That's it. All right, those are our predictions. We will find out at the end of this year whether or not we did any better than other years. We've never gotten a 100.
And if you got predictions, send them
Yes,
over. We'll read them out next year.
We absolutely will. We'll jot them down and keep track of them, and we will find out how you did. But you can't give us the prediction in November. It's got to be in January.
Here's hoping we all make it to the finish line.
There's a month window to until Picard comes out on the 16th of February. You got that till then to get some predictions in.
Right. And at a certain point, if we start to see more trailers for Picard, and your prediction is something in the trailer,
All bets are
then
off.
you send us your prediction. So be honest with yourself above all.
We're not giving away anything. So
We're not.
Yeah. You're just
If you want to predict there'll be
surprised.
episodes of Star Trek on Paramount Plus, you go right ahead. There
Right.
you go.
That's right.
All right,
That is
all
all.
that said, it's time to refill the dilithium chamber and to warp on out of here. You can find
Thank
me.
God. I mean,
Yes.
thank
He's on this host on the
thank
show.
Shakari.
Why does God need a podcast?
And remember to check those show notes because lots and lots of stories in there.
Yeah.
You can find me, Clinton, at Comedy Forecast, all one word with the number 4.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook and MeWe and Twitter and Post and Mastodon and basically any grain of sand in the desert. So there you go.
On the internet. All right. Well, you can find Chuck and I over at Technorama, and you can search for Technorama Podcast on Google, and you'll find us wherever you can get your fine podcasts from, and our website, and the Technorama Science
We're listed
Museum.
with fine podcasts. We're in the wrong
Yeah.
category.
Well,
Oh, we get a little bit of love in the show.
aw.
there.
And don't forget, you can find us in the Technorama Swiss Science Museum,
He's next door to Zurich.
next door to the bathrooms in the museum.
Long story.
Yep.
All right, hit the theme, boys. If you like the show, please be sure to tell a friend about it and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on Twitter at The Topic is Trek, visit our Facebook page, or visit thetopicistrek.com. Until next time, on behalf of Chuck, Craig, and myself, I'm Clinton, thanking you for listening. And as we always say here on The Topic is Trek, don't
put on
the red shirt.
Oh, I didn't have the show notes up. Don't put on the red shirt.
Sorry, you're still on mute, Craig.
I predict more of this in 2023.
Not much more.
All right, it's time to say goodbye to our live feed as we end the show.
Thank you, viewers. It's been fun.
You. Yeah.
Discuss some behind the scenes things and schedule our next show. And so hopefully we'll see you hopefully in 2 weeks. We'll be back again, depending on schedules. But
thanks, Davey Sitter.